Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am here after like a 2-month break because I've been busy with uni and stuff, but I have just finished A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout, which is the second book in the Blood and Ash series, and I had to come on here and talk to you guys about it because basically none of my friends have read this series and it's just incredible. I literally have no words. So I suppose I'll start with a non-spoiler review. So I didn't actually intend to make a video when I was reading this. This book series came into my life at a very awkward time because I had an essay due, which was 50% of my module, for one of my modules for uni. And I decided to read this book and I could not put it down. And therefore I handed in my assignment at like 3 in the morning, just before it was due. So Jennifer Armentrout, I mean, this book is that incredible that I literally didn't do my uni work so that I could read this book. So I mean, that's dedication, right? So yeah, basically all my points are points that I thought of afterwards. So I'm sorry if it's a bit jumbled and disjointed. It's just because I didn't actually write any notes. Okay, so the non-spoiler, I would say that this book is really good just because it focuses on building the relationships and on a lot of world building and characterization. So there isn't a lot of action, I would say, compared to the first book, or if you're someone that does a lot of action in the plot, I would say that this definitely isn't a book that does have action on every single page. It's not like that. It does focus a lot on just setting the scene for Atlantia, and focusing on the world building of all the different groups of these people, how to describe that, the Atlanteans, different cross the different breeds of that. Does that make sense? You know what I mean. And yeah, it focuses just on characterization because we meet a lot of new people by the end of From Blood and Ash, and it focuses on all these new people that we meet in this second book, and all the relationships, especially the relationship between Poppy and Hawk. So I just think it's an extremely good book. And I mean, you already must have read the first one, obviously, if you're watching this review for the second one. So I would just say buy it right now. That's my non-spoiler review. You need to buy it right now. You need to read it, and once you finish on that very last page, you need to comment, talk to me, DM me on my Instagram and we can discuss this. Not felt this way about a book or a book series for a very long time. I think a couple of years. I just cannot stop thinking about this book, and I finished it yesterday and it's just been constantly on my mind. I've been rereading especially the last 5 pages. Sorry, I'm going to move on to the spoiler review in a minute now because I just can't help myself. The spoiler review. Obviously there's spoilers here, so if you don't want any spoilers, then I'll suggest that you leave now. So, I thought that the first 200 pages they were going quite slowly and it was quite repetitive, because I was like, yeah, Poppy, I understand that Castile has hurt you and stuff, and it's very difficult, but I mean, I just felt like there was a lot of repetition, because it felt like the first 300 pages, it was only in the span of 3 days, I think, and that's mad. 300 pages and for 3 days, I think that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's why I said before in the other review, it focuses much more on the relationships and Poppy and how she's internally dealing with I'll say Hawk's betrayal, because obviously now we know him as Castile in this book, because that is his true identity. I really enjoyed meeting all the new people, especially Kieran. I mean, the whole joining stuff as well. I'm very intrigued, Jennifer Armentrout, for the next book, because I mean, the joining. There's been a lot of talk about the joining in this book. But yeah, I'm very intrigued as to how the dynamic between Kieran, Castile and Poppy is going to work in the next book. I'm trying to do this in order, but honestly in my head I just want to talk about the ending, but I'm gonna hold off for a minute. Another thing that I thought was annoying, maybe, obviously I did give this book 5 stars, this is being very nitpicky, was I think all the jokes were quite similar. They're very samey. The whole jokes about her being very, well, she did stab him, I suppose, but about her being really violent and stuff. I just felt that that was so repetitive. Constantly he was like, oh, you're violent, and it turns me on, like, you know. I was like, come on, can we move past this a bit? Like, you've literally mentioned this like 100 times now. But what I did love in this book was just the slow burn again, because I feel like we waited in the first book for Poppy and Hawke to get together, and when it happened it was just like, oh, they're together, it's amazing. And then that kind of all crumbled away, obviously, when he revealed his true identity as Castile. I just find it crazy that there's this whole, like, another level of, like, another slow burn as she gets to know him as Castile rather than Hawke. And that's like, oh my god, my head is, I was like, guys, please just get together, be honest about your feelings, because Poppy, I was like from the start, you love him, you know you love him, like, stop trying to stab him, please. Like, when she stabbed him in the heart, I was like, Poppy, you nearly killed him, and that's... I mean, he's your heartmate. So, I mean, yeah, what do you guys think about the whole heartmate thing? I mean, I think it's a really, really nice idea, to be fair. I'm excited to see how that kind of goes forward in the third book. That's why I do feel like this book was very much a stepping stone to the third book, where there's going to be action, there's going to be a lot more stuff going on. So I would say this was still an absolutely incredible book, but it definitely... is kind of one that's there just to give you a lot of context, I think, about the relationships and background and stuff. Like, we learn about Castile's past relationships with, like, we learn more about his, like, relationship with his brother, and especially his dynamic with Kieran, with the whole bonded with the Wolven thing, which is really interesting and intriguing. So yeah, I just thought it was an incredible book, and I did love... Even though it irritated me, I did love to see the slow burn between Poppy and Castile as they kind of just got to know each other again, and kind of, obviously they were still in love, I think, with each other anyway, but it was just getting past that betrayal and accepting the love, I think, was very difficult for Poppy. Very irritating for the reader, very irritating, but very good. I feel like Jennifer Armentrout is literally the queen of slow burns, like, the queen. Anyway, so this kind of brings me kind of towards the end. Obviously, when they get married, after, this scene in, like, the cove is just so lovely. I absolutely love that scene. I thought that was, like, really perfect for them, like, fully accepting each other and stuff. And I love how he took her to, like, that special place of his as well, because he shared that with his brother, like with Malik and with She. So I feel like he was really, like, accepting her. And what I think something that annoyed me so much was that he did all this stuff for Poppy, but she just couldn't see it as him, you know, like, him liking her. But then in her head, I don't know what it was, but she just wouldn't see that as him liking her. I think she was so... I say, like, insecure about, like, whether he liked her back and stuff, and that's something that irritated me a lot, because it was like, Poppy, it's so clear he likes you, like, it's so clear. So I love to see Poppy's development with her powers as well throughout the book, like how she's getting stronger and stronger with her powers. I do think that's because she's in Atlantia, like, there's a lot of talk about the culling, so I think she's very near, like, the culling. So I think we'll see a lot of that in the next book. Although saying that, I'm a bit confused now about whether she is going to go through a culling or not, because she's half Atlantean, but then she's also, like, a descendant of Nyctos, like the god. So, like, I'm now going right to the end of the book now, because this is an important link. So I definitely think because she is a descendant of, like, the king of the gods, Nyctos, I do think that she now is immortal in a way. She's like a demigod, isn't she? I mean, so she must be alive for a couple centuries. But yeah, now I'm confused whether she will go through a culling, though, because I suppose it is a culling when, like, in the end scene, when she kind of got that release of power that she didn't have before. So I suppose that could be seen as the culling. Okay, so I'm going to kind of revert back a bit. I told you guys this was going to be a very, very messy video. So I think that Alistair... Is it Alistair? Alistair? I'm going to say Alistair. I think that he is dodgy. Like, he is a very weird character. And you know what, in my opinion, I think that he was the one that, like, killed her parents. I do. I think he was the one, because she kept saying, like, oh, the voice was familiar, and whenever she's around Alistair, it's like, oh yeah, that voice is familiar because it reminds me of Victor. But I think she's just, like, she knows it's familiar deep down, not just because of Victor, obviously, but because she's having trouble remembering and stuff. But I definitely think that, yeah, I think that Alistair is a bit of a creep. I mean, he obviously just wants to have a descendant of his on the throne, because obviously he wanted she to be with Castile. And obviously we learn about how she and Castile like split up, and that's because she kind of like betrayed Atlantia, which I think was really sad, and she betrayed him, so he had to kill her. And I mean, I can't believe that. I just think that's a really, really sad relationship, and I don't think that was love for him. So I really do feel for Castile, obviously, because he had to kill like his childhood best friend, because she betrayed him. And I thought that's like, we learn a lot about where his agony stems from in this book, because we do learn more about him. So I think a lot of that starts to make more sense from the first book now, as well, because obviously Alistair wants to put his niece Gialum on the throne as well. We learn about that, and he brings that up. I just think he is a snake bringing stuff like that up. I do think that Castile should have been honest with Poppy from the start about stuff like that, and he should have told her, obviously, that he was not completely honest with her. But at the same time, Alistair bringing that up was very snaky. So therefore, I think in the next book, we're definitely going to see some of his true colours. And I also have another theory, and that is that he was... obviously, at the end of the book, he pulls aside Castile, and he says explicitly, I just want to speak to like Castile, and that's when Beckett takes Poppy into the Temple of Nyctos, and that's when everything goes down, which I'll discuss in a minute properly. I think he obviously had a part in what happened to her with the attack, just because when he was explicitly just saying, I just want to speak to Castile, he was obviously making sure that Poppy wasn't there and that Poppy would be taken to the temple. I think he definitely wanted to, kill her off. But obviously this was before they knew about her descendancy, about her powers, how she literally is like a descendant of the king of the gods. And she is now queen. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about the end scene, because this is the scene that has been like going round and round in my head. I reread the scene like 5 times just so that I can fully understand it, because I think the first time it didn't properly go through for me, but now I've read it more closely, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen that I didn't see before. So basically Poppy, she obviously gets attacked by like some Atlanteans who don't want her there, and this is in the Temple of Nyctos. Anyway, so they're throwing like stones at her, and it's horrible. What I absolutely hated when one of them called her a whore. I thought that was just disgusting. Like, no one should get called that, and I don't know, I felt so bad for Poppy in that moment, obviously, because she's our protagonist for the first 2 books. She's our protagonist, and we love her. She's such a strong, incredible woman, and she's just been through so much, and I think it's so sad that the people treat her like that. And that's even throughout the entire book. Like, I hate how badly she gets treated and like all the mistrust that's there. I do find it really like, it is upsetting for the reader, I think, for me anyway, just because, yeah, I do really like Poppy, and I want her to be accepted, and for her and Castile to like live happily ever after, because they're just like an amazing couple. Anyway, so then obviously that's when her power comes through. So one thing that I found out after the scene, so anyway, so obviously her power comes through, blood starts raining from the sky, and like a blood tree forms in like the temple. Anyway, so everyone starts crowding around her, and one thing that I noticed, and this was after I read it the first time, was that the wolves, they weren't gonna attack her, they were protecting her. So it took me a while to realise that, but they were surrounding her to protect her after this. And I think that links before, because there's a link earlier on in the book where they're saying how when she was, on the battlefield, when she was gonna when she was gonna slit her throat and stuff, like the wolves could hear that she was calling them out. So I think somehow being a descendant of a god, like their descendancy is very linked to a wolf. Even more linked maybe than like an elemental bond. So a theory that I do have is maybe that she is bonded with Jasper. That's just a theory that I'm thinking of. But either way, I think the Wolven have an extremely strong bond with Poppy as a descendant of Nyctos, because when they were around her, they were protecting her, even against the king and queen, even against Castile. If Jasper growled at Castile, this man that he's known for centuries, and just to protect Poppy, someone he's known for like a couple of weeks. So I think that was a very significant scene. And especially because obviously I think everything starts to make sense there. I wouldn't say that it's a massive plot twist, because I would say it's slightly predictable. I mean, I was still obviously shocked, like a bit shocked that she was like the descendant of Niktos, because there are hints throughout that her power, or like it's not that of an empath. Empaths don't have as much power as she has, like they don't glow. She smells, you know, really old and stuff like that. Find out literally right in the last sentence that she is a descendant, and that's crazy. I was really conflicted as well with what happened with Castile, because he drew his swords, and I don't know, a part of me is like, wait, did he draw them to protect Poppy? Which I really hope he did. But then a part of me is also like, I'm a bit scared, because now I'm like, did he do it just in case, you know, Poppy's power went out of hand? And that really scares me, because I just want to see them as like a power couple who just like protect each other, and they're not going to hurt each other or anything like that. And so I found that really difficult, because that's kind of how I interpreted it. I wished that, I don't know, something more happened in that scene between them, something more like affirming and confirming, because obviously he knelt to her because she is now the queen of Atlantia, because her being a demigod and descended from the gods means that she outranks the elementals, which is his family's line. And obviously they're married though, so he's still going to be like a king or a prince in that sense. He's still going to have that link to the throne. But I think the power dynamics have massively changed here. And that'll be interesting to see how that affects Poppy and Castile's relationship especially. I mean, I hope they don't argue about it or anything like that, or that there's no issues, just because obviously now this means that surely it's a positive thing. She's a demigod and she's on their side against the Ascended, so I think it should mean a good thing. But I don't know, I think that last scene has really struck me. So yeah, I basically just think now that the third book is going to be insane. I think there's so much for them to answer for in this third book. And there's going to be a lot of, you know, action and drama, I think. Because I definitely think in the next book, there's going to be battles between the Atlanteans and the Ascended. We're going to find out more about Malik and Tawny. There's going to be all these links. Everything is just going to come together in this third book. So I'm really excited to see how that works out. I literally just gave this book 5 stars. I did think that it obviously was a little bit slow at the start. But apart from that, I just thought that the relationship was just, it all came together in this, and it was just incredible. The wedding scene, the carriage scene, if you know, you know about the carriage scene, can I just say, was just amazing. And especially when Poppy went to go, I'm kind of backtracking now to just before the end, when Poppy went in that battle against the Ascended, against the Duchess, and she literally like went and fought them, and when her and Castile literally like shared a kiss on the battlefield, and they thought they were going to maybe like die together, that was just like insane. And when he said as well, like, I want to get you out of here, my heart, it was just like, oh my god. That actually brings me to like, I think one of my final points is the scene with the Duchess. So obviously I think there's a lot of confusion now, because the Duchess said that Poppy is the Queen's granddaughter. So what I'm thinking is that with her parents, one of them, I think obviously her mother, I think she was the Queen's daughter, and that must mean that the dad is the descendant of Niktos. So I think that means that she is ridiculously powerful, but I think that gives her a very good position, because she can kind of bring the two peoples together. But saying that, the Ascended are so creepy and I really hate them, so I really do hope that the Atlanteans, you know, they win. I cannot wait for the third book. Jennifer Armentrout, I know you're not, but please can you give me an arc? You know, if I gave this book 5 stars, I literally could not imagine how many stars I'm going to be giving the next book, considering that there's just going to be everything in it. Like, I can't wait. I physically cannot wait 5 months. I mean, yeah, as I said before, I've not felt this way about a book in a very long time, or a book series. So Jennifer Armentrout, you have like absolutely done an extremely outstanding job with this series. So yeah, I hope you guys have liked this video, and obviously if you like it, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this. Hopefully I'll be posting more content soon. I'm just quite busy with uni. But yeah, this book series is gonna stay with me and literally just for the longest time. If you have not read this series yet, then you just have to go out and buy it. I literally cannot recommend a series enough to you guys. I really can't. I think it's fantasy romance. It's literally got absolutely everything in it, and it's just incredible. So yeah, anyway, I hope you guys have a nice day. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. So bye.